One would think that it would be much easier to explain to science that the Earth is older than 6,000 years of age because the Bible told them to. If science understood how to read the Bible without legend. So I'm a Kabbalist. I've worked with the Ryrie Study Bible New Testament for many, many years. This particular Bible, hey, thanks for joining. And I threw a fit about not being able to find my videos earlier. Sorry. They're there. So what I'm doing here though is I've typed this. I've typed a few times. I've typed the four Gospels. I don't want to copy and paste, no control C, control V anymore. I'm just describing to you in this particular exercise the control C, control V King James version of the Bible. Filling in some of this nefarious, where did we catch and keep and retract and derive where we're at today in this flat earth legend, young earth retention point. That appears like to me it is smoking methamphetamine. It blew your brain out. Keeping that. It literally is a methamphetamine. You're in this methamphetamine type erasure point, and you followed a legend for so long, having an illegitimate history from 99. You are in a methamphetamine related psychosis description, which followed the methamphetamine. Everything I needed is the drug relationship. I've been David actually explaining the prophecies of this thing, how they relate to the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then how we took God out of the Bible in the year 99, and the consequence of having done that. So, dudes, there's a consequence of having done that. This is an apocryphal Bible. I need to use this one to get out of print. So I've typed it. It showed to me by typing it that Jesus himself was an apocryphal Messiah. Good guy. We liked him. We had religions, and we know his name. However, he doesn't want us to pray anymore to this thing, to this man, to this yikes. Stay away from him, because we do. We have been put out there in this book in print format in the old order. You're waiting for a new world order, right? So this new world order would actually begin. Take notes, because this is a new American Standard Version 1977. So let me begin there. So I had shit open. We're working, the church has a delusional disorder of time. In this delusional disorder, oh, it's back over here. In this delusional disorder of time, we're honestly working at this. So going backwards in time, giving your cult performance illusions as to you can't turn offs. We need that data, guys. We actually need that data between 1999 and the year 2020. A cult that could not turn off. From the year, so we don't have that data with the Bible. So it's so hard to put together because it's human evolution is a myth. Two myths, two legends. How do you collate them? How you preach the Bible incorrect through all world history? How did the Bible come into formation? And you kept it as a legend in a singular, scary little. Don't teach it. It's actually scary. Don't teach it. The Bible being a scary, don't teach it in the year 2020, because we broke the internet with it. It's the I'm not joking. So I found it too difficult to handwrite yet again. But I typed this already, and what I found by typing this is that the 1976, the I had by typing it I confirmed the invalid dates. confirmed. Here we have date Matthew's date 60. So this what it took from it took quite a few years to get. Well, that meant this entire book is apocryphal. That made the apocryphal. It was with disappointment that I finished with the 1977 redaction of the. It's really a story of how I'm disappointed that we have the Bible in print, guys. The from here with invalid dates, kids. It's in the other. You have the four gospel union. I'll get it right over here. And it was with disappointment that I finished in 1977 with the typing of the typing. So here, my disappointment of typing this thing is I received my dog of all things. I had to euthanize him on tooth. You need a little bit more history as to where we went wrong at. So I'm giving you a little. We missed the 1610 inertial data in 2015 that pointed up back to 1840 to correct that 1859 in memory format. So no more buying or selling books. Remember that one? Here in this 1840, memorize the Bible all the way back through to where you're going to find God not in it. Is now he's in it because at everything past we invalidated at this entire 1976 was apocryphal without Jesus in it. We need to find a way to massage Jesus out of the Bible and God into the Bible and correct who we pray to. We have to get Jesus out of the Bible as who he wasn't, which he wasn't somebody murdered. He was not murdered. Jesus was not murdered. He was 1,000-year wandering rabbi. Promise you. He was a 1,000-year wandering rabbi. I promise you. Jesus himself was not murdered. I guarantee you. So I'll come back to that other page that is out there later. So it's really hard to do this again, but I'll start at his temptation and just narrate this. Here, so Jesus was honestly okay. This is year 2020. Um, Complete surprise. I was not disappointed in myself, or I had an extreme sense of disappointment in supposed chronologists, in supposed biblical chronologists. I led a career and a life with both knowledge of the Bible and the invalid 6,000-year deduction made by religion. I've spent my entire life with knowledge of that. I'm a religious guy. You don't have to worry about me on that. The we're from you're Baptists. I know who you guys are, and most of you are. You're impossibles to work with. Baptists are like the most densest. The Baptists are really, really, really fucking dense. You Baptists are ignorance. Really, really, really dense cult, cult, cult. Having retained the James Fisher chronology, so we need to start at a Baptist are really, really, really ignorant after 1999. Ignorant of a Baptist cult, guys. You had a Baptist cult for 21 years who took God out of the Bible, just like your sermons. So you had a Baptist cult where you cult members were told to learn and go and find cults and not. You just argued with science and so said they're invalid, said we didn't evolve. No, we didn't evolve, but we didn't magically prove either. So you being Baptist ignorant in morals, we didn't magically prove either. I need to timestamp this for you. Into closure of cult that took God out of the Bible, take the Bibles away from all of the different places. Let me help you there. There it is. We use King James. The King James, Matthew chapter 1. So I can type a lot faster. I do want to narrate it to you as we write a closure point because this is I witnessed him say, "Yeah, no one's ever seen God." No, that means you took God out of Bible itself and didn't understand that. Word of it, with the legend and no one's ever seen God. Absolutely, because you still have this book in print in the old format, New World Order, new format. So no one's ever seen God. 1611, King James Version of the Bible. Really looked past tense to you couldn't see God in Deuteronomy 34:10, so you didn't understand the legend at all. Because from Matthew chapter 5, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ. So let's get back over here. I'll do this from record, keep memory. I led a career and a lifelong with knowledge of the Bible with the invalid 6,000 year earth made by religion. However, I did not expect to find need to record the closure of gutquestions.org not being able to accept the illegitimate age of the earth deduction of 6,000 years. You guys kept an illegitimate deduction for 6,000 years. So we're working with an apocryphal King James Bible. Um, and did not recognize until 2020, till May, until 2020, that 2020, that the King James Bible itself was an apocryphal book with the apocryphal union to the full history of the earth through the distant legends of time. And the gospel according to Matthew, invalid apocryphal book, and the gospel yep, gospel of Matthew invalidated, fully invalidated as an apocryphal book, fully invalidated ended 20 ended the beginning of the recognition of recognizing that the only solution for of the 6,000 year earth book was to remove of 6,000 years and supplant the legend, the 6,000 year earth legend with the consequence of retaining the eyes wide, blind, ignorant, and foolish 6,000 year earth deduction. However, at this surprise, and it was almost a disappointment. Jesus is a false, and joy through a disappointing discovery that Yeshua was not Jesus unless you thought he was. It's a disappointing discovery that you're just in hell. That everything's is exact same when they take it out and put it back in print for you. However, you don't have anything that it said, which would be all a year of false everything's. However, at the same surprise that through a disappointment, unless you thought he was. The Bible, in consequence, was a six was itself a 6,000 year earth legend. So the Bible being a 6,000 year earth legend, guys, that's amazing. That is an amazing. That's whoa. That is amazing. That we would keep 1859 closed. We didn't evolve, and that shit that would not taking good care of paleontology, paleon, paleontology does not understand geology, and you don't see the words of your Bible, and your cults never once understood the written structure of the book that said "Get me out of print" because I was printed invalid. And Jimmy Swaggart touched it in 2015, invalidated it again. And now I got to explain to you, cult, you guys, and Jimmy Swaggart, and the Children's King James version of the Bible, and anyone who. You you're all the Belarus secret, the first account of the extraordinary. Yeah. So the protest finally reached the American literary revolution. The what do I have there? I'm not sure yet because it's 1837 and 1859 closed you off at 1610. 1610 data. That's legitimate Earth history. That's where we're at. So human evolution is the process. Let's look at this. Human evolution itself Rare birth defects still spiky in Washington state, where I'm taking record for Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain published in 2014. So this has been in print from 1977 to 2014. This single article cost you $22 trillion of debt. 7 cases of rare fatal birth defect were reported in a remote region of Washington state in 2013, making it a fourth consecutive year that rates have more than tripled the national average. So, what happened to your global debt doubling during the Obama administration during April 2014? I was that you know, there's still no clear reason for the spike in encephaly. So you guys weren't even looking at your local congregations; they're just magically poof. We got to teach them, but you guys cult members are there's still no clear reason in 2014. That's what I'm explaining to you. Jimmy Swaggart, a severe defect in which babies are born in the missing parts of their brain or skull. Not mine, Jimmy. According to Washington state health officials. Not mine, Jimmy. Uh, but it brings up not Native American, but it brings up 30 numbers to the case reported in 2010. Encephaly, not mine. Jimmy Swaggart, you fucked with the King James version of the Bible. Jimmy Swaggart, you fucked with the King James Bible in the wrong era, and went in the wrong direction. Is right here. That one's a literal. Jimmy Swaggart, you fucked with the where'd I go? You fucked with the King James Bible in the wrong era, and that's the one that's he gets like oh, that's what happened to him for having done that. So, Ken Hwan, as you're sitting there, let's go to erase Australia Aboriginal until they weren't there and not learning anything while you continue to participate in not thinking about $22 trillion debt, and how you, Ken Han, are not participating in doing anything valid for the world, and how you, Ken Han, are, and you, Jimmy Swagger, how you're not doing anything invalid for the world. And this little child right there, Jimmy Swagger, your moniker in Earth history where you're shaming God. You, Jimmy Swagger, has reached a point of shame of having the Bible in print. 2020 is just a shameful generation for me to take the Bible out of print for you guys. It is such a shame. It is a disappointing shame for me to record myself and explain to you this said book and that you evolved writing because you kept a legend. Very, very shameful. Very, very shameful. In order to explain what happened, very, very shameful. A 6,000-year Earth legend. It's very difficult. That fits in your guys' turn you offs. It communicate. You guys don't communicate. You same brain dead moron who won't sit his ass down over there. This is a handwrite it. Look at sit your ass down. It's an email. It fits in sit their asses down. It's a sit down and look you're wrong. I sent you something more earlier that you haven't sat down yet and admitted you're wrong. We're not going to get anywhere, but what I am doing is writing a very simple Moses' death record. Uh, you know, this had a hidden plan. It had to do with the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's rather disappointing. It just gives me the entire internet to explain the 1610 miniature data left you in hell. The that having that miniature data out here in print under human evolution. Whoa, done. Ben David, he's in prophecy to take care of human evolution. I am in prophecy to address what was the one thing the age of the earth thought we evolved it. Did the earth evolve? What do we actually see? We see the now live science. We saw is at some point still not identified. He thought something evolved and looked at it wrong. He didn't learn that much. The At some point, still not pinpointed in the fossil record, it evolved. So it's 160 years of false data. You, 160 years of false data for having this Bible in print after 1976 is then turn. We evolved. Here we're looking at 1611, knowledge of 1610. We evolved it. And so when we go into now I'm taking this Bible away from a cult, they arose all the valiant men and took away the body of Saul and the body of his son, brought them to Jabesh and buried their bones under the oak in Jabesh and fasted for 7 days. So that would be seven different instances of the King James Version of the Bible saying in the year 1666 you had 75 books. In the year 1666, you had the apocryphal union with the Quran. That would be in the year 1666. You had the Great Fire of London to tell you the distance in time to look at for that 1610. So in 1611, you kept an apocryphal union, buddies. You owe me the entire internet for wasting a year and a half of my life watching you guys die off that in the year 1610 with this inertial data that said 17 and a half years of age. You guys have been bleeding, bleeding. You guys are in hell with that data. You need me. And Balaam rose up on the morning and said unto the princes of Balak, Get ye into the land, for the Lord refuseth to give me leave to go with you. So this data stayed out, and I actually have to explain to you that we have to pray to Balaam. Uh, the prince of Moses rose up again. They went to Balak and said to Balaam, Refuse to come with us. And so he didn't. And Balak sent up another princes, and more than the honorable than they. So they came to Balaam and said to him, Thus saith Balak, the son of Zippor. So that would be the son of Zippor, Moses' union, uh, Moses and Zippor. I pray thee, hinder thee from coming unto me, for I will promote thee unto thy very great honor, and I will do whatsoever thou sayest unto me. Come before I pray thee, curse me this people. Cursing this data you kept a 6,000 year earth legend. How did you use that in your legend counting backing? You How did you use counting back in time? God and Moses did not speak face to face, and Moses did not write down for you, and they possessed this land. God and Moses did not speak face to face, and Moses did not write down for you. Now these are the kings of the land. God and Moses did not speak face to face. That was Joshua, sorry about that. And Moses did not write down for you. And if it will make no peace with thee, that it will make more war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. God and Moses did not speak face to face, and Moses did not write down according to God's questions. Internetcult.org. Now I'm explaining to you that we have scientific evidence. We have to take this out of print because you invalidated your brains with it. The Lord God Moses did not speak face to face as friends, and Moses did not write down the moment he told him, and Joshua did not witness this observation in the tent of meeting like it told us it did. So let's check that. And the Lord spake unto me, saying, Ye have compassed this mountain long enough. Turn ye northward. So God and Moses did not speak face to face as friends. See, this is a reversed legend. And Moses did not write down. You did not remain disobedient in hell for taking God out of this story. We have shot at them. and is perished even unto Debon. See, everything goes back into this tortoise shell, into got questions, internet cult.org. For me listening, me typing and explaining the King James Version of the Bible went, this is apocryphal. It being apocryphal, that's an apocryphal website also, which is kind of neat in that we can catch him. The Prince of God, that's Numbers. So the and to the Lord spake unto Moses, not face to face, according to God. Questions to internet or in the plains of Moab. But no, we don't know where because it's just a legend. It's just not important to us. Near Jericho, saying, command the children of Israel. So this is an irrelevant command according to God. Questions internet cult.org. An irrelevant command because God and Moses did not speak face to face, and because God and Moses did not speak face to face, the cities shall they have to dwell in. They didn't speak face to face, so they didn't understand how to read the legend. And God and Moses did not speak face to face, and Moses did not write down, and Joshua did not redact later, and God was not standing there face to face beside Joshua later when Joshua entered into the promised land, even though it told us he did. So, but here, so according to God Questions Internet Cult.org's brilliant exposition of God not being in his Bible, for only the king of Bashan, reminded of the remnant of the giants, beheld the bedstead was of iron, as not of Rabath, but of the children of Ammon, and that is an apocryphal relationship. I'll tell you more about later, which has the sizing to it, 9 cubits, the breadth of it, more later. That too much data. My brain's full of data. Then thou shalt bestow what God and Moses did not speak face to face. You see, this is a reverse legend, kids. This is a collapse and it's a reverse legend. Start taking apart a reverse legend. Yeah, reverse legend, you were just wrong. God and Moses did not speak face to face. We got it wrong. And so they did in the mountains and on the valleys and on the plains. Joshua had something important written to understand. Now, these are the kings of the land. What data on the kings of the land during the Neolithic era that you don't have any data on? Might have told you a little bit from what was going on right there. The and Benaiah came to the tabernacle of the Lord and said unto him, saith the king, come forth. And he said, Nay, but I will die here. And Benaiah brought the king word again, saying, Thus said Joab, and thus he answered me. So what I'm doing is I'm explaining to you how this has to come out of print. This has to come out of print. Everything has to be reconciled. Everything everything's already been reconciled. And what it looks like is you took God out of the Bible, however, to put God back into his Bible. Put God back into his Bible. It's put him into his legends. And so then Solomon assembled the soldiers of Israel. So back into the legends, Solomon himself was an albino. And all the heads of the tribes, and the chief of the fathers and the children of Israel, unto the king of Solomon in Jerusalem. They might bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of the city of which is Zion. So Zion is the memorization to go tickle out a cult. There's got questions internet cult.org. They're kind of nifty. There was nothing in the ark, so that they literally this is an entirely apocryphal legend. There's nothing in the ark of got questions internet cult.org other than that they didn't interpret two paragraphs correct. The that every man near thee all the days. You finitize the ending of the Bible to such an apocryphal legend point of how can we stop an apocryphal bleeding point. So the King David saw psalm writer, maybe not, and he was an albino, so yes. But thou, O Lord, art shield for me, thy glory and the lifter up of mine head. So King Solomon also albino, yes. Happy are those who hope is the word the Lord lo- looseth the prisoner. So that's apocryphon from the Mormon Church. Praise ye the Lord, for it is good to sing praises unto the Lord. Isaiah apocryphon. And he said, what have they seen in thine house? Isaiah apocryphon. Thus saith the Lord against all mine evil neighbors, 6,000 yeareth legend keepers, that touch the inheritance, 6,000 yeareth legend keepers, which I have caused by people. The inheritance is the closure of this Bible. The takedown of your church systems and you kept a legend. That's your actual legitimate 2020 wake up inheritance. You inherited it as a reverse legend. You guys inherited it as a reverse legend. I'm Ben David. I'm turning you off. The reverse legend of the entire Bible is it's entirely in reverse. This is a backmasking. There's nothing in here. This is a backmasking. 27 books. Well, black backward mask. Let's the design of the future. Uh, Now, grow in peace and acknowledge the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. To him be the glory, now and the days for all eternity. Amen. Backward masking. He was an albino. Acknowledge him. You therefore, beloved, knowing beforehand, be on your guard lest you be carried away by the error of unprincipled men. You fall from your own steadfastness. Well, in the year 1666, the Bible went through the remission of sins and got burned. And 5 years after the deduction was concluded with the death of James Usher, we had a 6th of October 23, 4004. We have an approximate. We have an absolute. We have we have many deductions. Let's use NASA data. So therefore, beloved, using the year 1666 and October 23, 4004 BC, superseded through uh, uh, 4.54 billion years is what NASA data told us. We'll do that. Uh, Also, in his letters, speaking from all things, in which some of things hard to understand, which taught and unstable people distort, such as over there got questions internet called or retention of this book. I'm explaining to them why I'm taking it out of print for you and regard the patience of our Lord to salvation. Philippians 2:11 is and for all eyes at the final day to see. God's not in this book, so where's God not at? That you keep the commandments without the stain. He's not in this apocryphal union. Now we request you, brethren, regard the the future tense coming of the Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to Him. So we haven't done much in here. We haven't actually done much in here. Some of the multitude, therefore, when they heard these words, were saying, "This certainly is the prophet." We haven't actually done that much we've been told to do. This multitude which does not know the law is accursed. We haven't actually understood this. Me- Took the branches of the palm trees and went out to meet him and began to try. Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed he who comes in the name of the Lord. And the King of Israel. Israel, you gave them a middle-aged book. Israel, and you permitted the United States to keep it in print with a 6,000-year legend spot. Israel, shame on your Pope. Jesus said, remove the stone. Martha, the sister deceased of the deceased, said to him, Lord, by this time there will be a stench. Stench. Remove the stone. We're removing the stone of 500-year legend. Talk about a stench. At that time, the feast of dedication took place at Jerusalem. So, $22 trillion stench, a reminder. Yep, that Jesus took the stones and began to stone them. So, I want to roll a cigarette. We're Guys, I'm having a really hard time, but I decided to stop handwriting And because I typed this already, I'm going to type it again. I'm going to do all of my work as I'm explaining to you guys what I'm doing. You're first on my list, progressively going through the history, the invalid canonization of the Bible itself. I'm the biblical historian coming back at the end of the road. I am Ben David. I'm doing this because it needs to be done. I'm doing this because of the James Fisher deduction. You are just in the long list of next we're going to puff on the Pope. We need to get this out of print. No shit, no shit, you can't figure anything out. No fucking shit when you evolved it all. That's a disappointing little reminder of, and it's not even the question of God doesn't give a shit about world peace, and do I? I don't either. You don't obviously either. You wouldn't say God doesn't give a shit about it when He said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." So I'd rather choose to just be blessed and not give a shit about world peace, and then go with being blessed. So when we look at it like that, what are we? We're getting this out of print because it's blessed are the peacemakers. They say God's not in the Bible, and we're collapsing a cult in order to correct the Baptists. I'm doing this for you guys in order to know how to correct. You were invalid in '99. You guys were 100% invalid. We've been in hell since '99. That's an easy invalidation point, since you didn't have 600,000 up here and, and and no God in your story. Yeah. How many times have you been corrected? I don't think you're correct. Yeah, or how many times have you launched some waste of money thing that went kaplap, and you're like, I wish I hadn't done it. How many times did you implode? We have no valid history because of you guys. So we don't have any valid history because this book is in print. We what I've come to determine, and it's taken 13 years to understand for Duke Joy, this book in print in the year 2020 with all of two verses. It's disappointingly bummer. Literal, all of two verses. I'm communicating to you that here, because this is an apocryphal Bible and not interpreted correctly, all of two verses. And Moses was in 120 years when he died. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab. And Naphtali and there, but where's 34:10? And there arose not a prophet since in Israel, like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. And then saying that meant something else. And so here where it said, and they shall keep the charge, and the charge shall be the whole congregation of the tabernacle of the congregation to do the service of the tabernacle, face to face, and he shall bring the bullock unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation of the Lord, and he shall lay his hand upon the bullocks, and the Lord shall kill the bullock before the Lord face to face. They were also ate it. 6 days work made done, but on the seventh day is the Sabbath of the rest holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work on the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death face to face. So here you have his union with the apocryphal union of this is an apocrypha. Saul changed his name to Paul cult, and here you have the union again that Saul warned us and called us in the book of Galatians, and we received the Quran. The three times you've heard of those who broke the Sabbath, they shall be changed into test tapes. Three times. And that's what happened. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations. So largely, Israel left it. You guys took Sunday, so that you got the third one, a bell and a pomegranate and a bell. And so here, where a bell, it's another unicorn on Exodus. 39:26, a bell and a pomegranate. So you have the buzzer of the Bible right here. I am the Zohar over there to correct you, and a pomegranate is your legend of, is it a grape, is it an apple, or is it a pomegranate? What did they eat? A bell and a pomegranate around about the hem of the robe to minister him as the Lord commanded Moses. Face to face, so Moses wrote this as an apocryphal legend piece. Bell and a pomegranate. So did they eat the grape? Yes, they ate the grape because Jesus had the sacrament of wine. And you have Alcoholics Anonymous. It's quite similar. And over the bows, so everything fell apart there. Through the sacrament of wine, guys, through the sacrament of wine, I found that so I'm going to go type it again. This one needs to come out of print. The 1977 needs to come out of print. Here's my mark explaining it to you. I am Ben David. Here's my mark on my left arm. The mark of the beast is the 666 thing. You're the pinpoint cult, sort of, where you kept it in your babbling on in Babylon. Your cult is Babylon. Your cult is the nefarious of that. You guys are it. And be known to you, therefore, that this salvation of God has been sent to the Gentiles. They will also listen. It's turning this thing back on around you guys. Turning it back on where you did this to everything. And now we've gone back and confirmed that you're just all invalid teachers. So Jesus said to her, did I not say to you, if you believe, you would see the glory of God? So God's not in here putting God back into this Bible because you took out, you did not recognize that you missed out on doing that. Rather, it's now 6,000 year Earth legends had not yet come into the village at that moment in time. John was writing something at that moment. When Jesus had spoken these words at that moment, he went forth with his disciples at that moment over the ravine of Kedron. So, with the name, and at that moment, where there was a garden and a place to eat fish at, I guess, into which he himself entered, and he was and his disciples. Now, here you go. Judas also was there, who was betraying a scribble interpolation of betrayal in John. Your magic poofing inspirations. You were betrayed. You were betrayed right there with that 6,000 year stop point. You're betrayed. So we need to use your data. The voices in my head. I finally came to the conclusion, though. What I got to do is begin and say, this is an apocryphal book, which explained everything why you couldn't understand it, which explained all of the data I've gone through and the year and a half I've watched you lament away. This being apocryphal, you couldn't cast into hell, not knowing that this was an apocryphal union with 1610. You were literally just cult organization cast way out there. Uh, the I'm using hell because I'm watching you guys not turn off. I'm using hell because I've gone hell through hell to get this one out, and this is an apocryphal book. The It's taken 13 years. I've typed it. I've worked with this one. It's taken me 13 years. I'm a Dead Sea Scroll fucking expert. They are right here, Dead Sea Scroll, and he said, on the contrary, he blessed to those who hear the Blessed are those who hear the word of God and observe it. So he's blessed are those who hear it. On the contrary, they're hearing it, but not watch them not to observe it in Greek land. They're not observing it, so they broke the internet. Now he was saying to the disciples at that moment in time concerning wealth, as the apocryphal edition in 1976, there was a ard and there was a steward, and there was reported to him a squandering of his possessions. So you squandered your religious capacities. We need to collapse, okay? 17. And he said to his disciples, it is inevitable that the stumbling blocks should come, but woe to him through whom they come. Then I have evolution written down. 1859. Woe to him. 2020. Woe to us. Woe to us. Got questions, guys. And woe to us after 1859. The degradation of the church teaching facilities. Woe to us. Be on your guard. It told you, but you all gathered around 2 Timothy 4:3-4 and paid him. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and you never did that. But you patted each other on your back. Oh, you're a good Christian. No, a good Christian doesn't lose the age of the earth, and refuse to acknowledge that uh, God is not for real. And they began bringing children to him. In the Tinta meeting, now we're bringing children to me to learn how to handwrite this. Listen to me explain it. So that he might touch them, and his disciples rebuked them. So you push this story out there. And they were on guard going up to Jerusalem. So there we have in the year 1666, pushing the story out there. And he was setting out on a journey in 1665. The Great Plague of London data gave us 75,000 deaths. However, in the year 1666, the Great Fire of London data only gave us 6 deaths. That's kind of silly. That's as silly as thinking the Earth magically poof 6,000 years ago, and apes evolved up to become me. So I don't mind evolution. That you just got the great ape distance and time problem. The great ape distance and time. I don't mind tackling evolution. You need a tackle point in evolution. You need a tackle point. We caught you at Greek legend. You need a tackle point in you. We stopped. Our retirement is because we evolved. You need that 2020 tackle point. Stop and go back to seventh president cult. Tackle backwards to reform your church systems into seventh president mythology and mentality. Yeah, seventh president, George Washington, definitely. The seventh president mythology and mentality of that era, of that war, of slavery, of everything, of what they knew, of the drugs they used. Back in that era, cocaine could be used and it wasn't a scary drug. It wasn't used to cook coke into meth. How not meth, but cocaine? I don't think. But in my examples, my Neolithics, I'm blinking you out, and 9,000 medicinal uses of plants. Well, it's quite aspirin's quite often a placebo also, but some of them were not placebos, and we know that they're not placebos. 9,000 medicinal uses of plants, and you're like, oh, my head hurts. And there are concubinically the hemp relationship I'm dragging you through to understand our questions are called is that you're from the hemp hijab point of view, uglies, uglies. We're all in hell. You're just so ugly. That's a shame to my mother also. Uh, Honestly, in this weird, I love her to death, she's a good woman, but look at what we've done with our bodies. Look at how we've not corrected the Jimmy Swagger. Look at how he used the King James Version Bible erroneously, and everyone kept the same legend. NASA didn't, though. So who was keeping track of the King James Version of the Bible? No one. No one. No one. In 2005, who was keeping track of the got questions called? No one, no one. Who was praising them? Probably everyone. A good God, a good Baptist organization. They just keep going, and we go through so many cyclical changes, career wise and change wise. And you guys are but a weird a little stop point. from me retiring from being an executive engineer to now handwriting the Bible to say I can't because you guys actually took out of the Bible, and that's me explaining to you cult members that you did, and by doing that you invalidated CFR 191. That's loving. Accidental invalidation. Legend. Jesus. Good guy. We love him. We know that. We need to stop praying to him, though. He doesn't listen to us. He listens to us too closely. It's our ego, our self conscious. That's the same as gravity. So we receive what we get, and we get what we receive. And so we can beg, and that's all you're getting. And he doesn't like that. So what he likes saying in John 14:15, if you love me, you will obey me. So let's go to John 14:15 and read it very closely from St. Matthew. But when the Pharisees heard that it, pronoun reference is unclear, they said, "This fellow doth not cast out devils by Beelzebub, the prince of devils." So let's go over to John 14:15 through St. Luke. And one of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him. Let's go to John 14:15 through John the 7. And that he believeth in me, John 14:15. Uh, Verily, verily, I say unto you, John 14:15. We through no bracketing bullshits, but we don't know the authorship, except we do know the authorship. And so John 14:15, we know the authorship's invalid by the 6,000-year legend. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. John 14:15. I ask that we close a cult. If you love me, keep my commandments. I'd say that's Australian Aboriginal. I need your help. 65,000 years, we can't turn these people off. Help them understand, Mr. President Trump. A cult, a cult. They're too incompetent to recognize your leadership. That you're too incompetent to accept that George Washington's didn't think that the Earth was 6,000 years of age, and we have a 6,000 year. Mr. President Trump is too immature to collapse you. So I got to help him there. Verily, if you love me, keep my commandments. It said, and I will pray your Father, and he shall give you another, another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. And that's taking this thing out of print. That even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive. So you couldn't receive this in print in the old format. Take it out of print, puff on it, because it seeth him not, nor knoweth him not. So you took God. I have to put God next to every verse. Couldn't see him the first time. Timestamp. Timestamp. So now I'm typing it yet again. Yet again. We're going to collate. It's called a textual attunement. Yeah, I can describe it as when God began to create and created the heavens and the earth into the Genesis narrative of he Moses wrote very specific instructions for us to not lose. Then you can see Moses' handwriting if you look. You can see. Let's use one. Saint John. He that my commandments and keep them, he that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved by my Father, and I will love him, and I will manifest myself to him. So, how did you use that in your sermonic, demonic, magic proof cults, where you're teaching something? Jesus loves you. No, he doesn't. Uh, Let not your heart be troubled. Yea, believe in God, but also in me. So you believe in God, but also me. Don't be troubled. I'm an albino. I'm not God. I'm not God. I'm an albino. I'm a male. I'm an albino male, he was saying. The illegitimate man. He's not a god. That's where that went. So, tickling it, hey, Mr. President Trump, with this in print, you had a racist union you couldn't figure it out, reversed it on itself, by the way. So it's just this weird, kind of a neat anthropological find, in my opinion. Also from the House of Gal. You should probably know about it at the very least. It'll never correct racism, but at least it'll make you kind of shudder at it. And behold, my cousin Elizabeth, she hath also conceived a son in her old age. So another barren relationship. And this is the 6th month with her, who is called barren. So 4004 BC equals question mark. For hath God nothing shall be impossible. And Mary said, behold, the handmaid of the Lord. So according to the word, saluted, had entered the house of Zacharias and saluted. So we're working with salute 1610 Minertio data. Shame on you. This is we're now we're getting on to hell with this. The much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God. Wow, there is. I can't even explain how this thing is a scary thing. This is Chernobyl. This is all in 1986. And David said, whosoever smiteth the Jebusites first shall be chief and captain. So Joab the son of Zeruiah went first up and said, this is all in 1986. For whatsoever exalted himself shall be abased, which would have been your church systems. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, that and I perish without you? Just a joke. Okay, I'm going to type it now. That's again the because I want it done in a week. I can't write it that quick. I think it would. Last time I typed it, it was I kept the numbers. This time I'm not going to keep the numbers. So I'm taking the 1976. I've come to determine it to be 100% apocryphal. I'm going to explain to you how easy it is to recognize it as the apocryphal union through all prophecy, through the Dead Sea Scrolls. Collapse it at you. Collapse it at you. Collapse it at you, because I need you guys to take this as a collapse serious. A year and a half of watching you guys get worse and worse and worse. I need you guys to take it at a collapse serious. I'm trying to help you guys. Honest. It's because Kennewick, man, 9,000, it's a reverse puzzle. This is just a medieval puzzle to a medieval document. Just no. This just happens to explain why Chernobyl exploded. Is what more of a just. This just happened to explain why Nancy Kerrigan is on. The way I remember her. This just happened to explain what happens when we take out God of it. And the Spirit of God came upon Azariah, the son of Obed. So it just happened to explain all of 86. So just happened to. Isaiah said, I've declared the former things from the beginning. It just happened to, because I've been understood it. What's wrong with this book? What's wrong with this book? It got in print. It told us not to have it. Guys, time to get it out of print. So I'm typing it again in order to get the King James Version of the Bible. And accept that as a jihad. I want it as a fun jihad. I want it as a jihad. I want it as a jihad. Yeah, we're going to. I thought about having a teddy bear or something, and I'm going to take your Bible from you. Unleash the chains of apocryphal prophecies. Yeah. With this, John. Let's have some fun with this. Get a teddy bear and who's evolving or something. A fish that can't figure out that it's how it got lungs. The axe. They also, so we need to have some fun with human evolution. We actually need to have some fun in regurgitating back into what do we erase. So let's how will I have some fun doing that now? It's now how will I have some fun? Now how will I have some fun? It's like a little Sparky cleanup project. Uh, I had you guys since '99, so we're watching. Well, I'm caring for you guys. The We'll do this. We'll do this. We've never actually tried to use the James Ussher chronology properly. So Ben David in prophecy is the one who's supposed to take the Bible out of print and then use it with the James Ussher chronology. My daddy's name is David. He adopted me from a Gideon, and that was a bad choice because Gideon. I have to do this for Grandpa Gideon. Get the King James version Bible. Grandpa Gideon, thank you. And so that would be my distribution of the Bible in the former USSR, becoming overly enamored with Genesis 1:9 and determining that that did mean Evangelion since I was 15 and told to take that book literal. And, and then with watching pastors say, that's not Daniel. So I'll believe whatever I want to. Well, as a Kennewick man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain decayed in local debate, and while non-cephaly raged in children without brains, Jimmy Swaggart's lookalikes, and brainless, not Adam, and Eve, brainless, skullless, thumb, cult member, cult teacher at Bible that needs Bible taken away from him, ripped from his dirty hands. I just need room to do that with. I'll have to print it. See, I went to handwrite it because then I could I'll figure out what I want to do. But I'll type. So we're there at 1666 Minerchi 1610. That is why I'm taking it out of print for you. The King James Version is at 100% apocryphal. A little bit of a surprise, a little not of a surprise. Doesn't make complete sense from the Mormon perspective, but it itself is apocryphal. Thanks.